Here checking in live, respectmyregion.com, back on another episode of the Respect My Region podcast. Today I'm joined by a very special guest. We've got Brian Staffa. Brian, are you the CEO, founder, co-founder, what's the official title that we're rocking with now with you guys up there in Oregon with TJ's?
So I'm the CEO, COO of TJ's,
Yep.
and I'm the CEO, managing partner of High Revival.
So TJ's is the brand. High Revival Holdings is the parent company. I've noticed, Brian, that in cannabis there tends to be a group like a High Revival, something along those lines, and then all the cannabis entities tend to be dispersed throughout that kind of stuff. My understanding is that there was a TJ's Organics for a number of years. Maybe there still is, or however that works. We'll explain that here in a moment. And now you are one of the managing partners for this new TJ's brand there in Oregon. Is it one and the same? Is it essentially the same? Can you peel back and help us understand some of the layers between the company that you have now and the formerly TJ's that we might have known throughout the
100%.
the 2020s, the 2010s, that kind of thing?
Yeah, without question. Yeah, that's a good start. Basically, I'm the CEO, managing partner of High Revival, and essentially, like you said, most cannabis companies need to be able to have a overarching company that they can actually, bring some money into and look at it kind of like the cash, and as a way to limit liability and make things extraordinarily easy to segment out for tax purposes. Remember, we are still dealing with the fucking 280E because we haven't been able to make any progress on that. So we have to make sure that everything is really segmented for liability and tax reasons. And essentially, what we've done is, we're looking at Oregon. I mean, I've lived in Oregon now going on 5 years. Absolutely love the state, love the culture. There's a reason that I chose to be here by choice. And what we're trying to do with High Revival is literally revive the companies of yesterday that may have fallen on some hard times. Some people look at them and call them distressed assets. I look at them as undervalued companies. And what we're doing is we're trying to breathe new life into those, trying to breathe some additional energy, revive the brands. And so we acquired our first companies, which was TJ's dispensaries, TJ's in Eugene, which is TJ's on Willamette. Yep. And we also grabbed the TJ's in Portland, which is TJ's on Powell. And so it used to be called, TJ's Gardens, TJ's Organics.
It was kind of confusing between the flower and the dispo and all that kind of stuff. Honestly, it was just the medical market back then was just honestly poorly branded, I think, at the end of the day.
Yeah, and really what we did was we tried to make it a little bit more streamlined and just went with TJ's Oregon. And so, the way that it kind of developed was, damn, I am jealous. I am sitting in an OLCC managed facility right now. That does not fly. So the way that it originally developed was with the original founders, Travis, James, and John. And they shortened it to TJ's for a whole lot of reasons. That's a whole other story that they would probably be the better ones to tell. But they had great success early on, really focused on the medical first market, to the point that they had a program that gave CBD and high CBD product to medical patients for free. And so at a certain point, they exited and sold to a public company. And public companies had their day in cannabis. Some of them are still around, but there was a boom type situation, the 2017s through 2020s, and the public entity essentially took it from the original founders. They put their own spin on it and did what they did, and it ended up falling on some hard times. And that's where we came in, and they sold off a few of their properties before we came along. And then we came along and bought the last couple of properties that they had left from the Pubco. And, we're bringing back culture and just really trying to bring it back to what it was about, which is great fucking weed and enjoying
that revival mindset is strong with you guys. And it's cool because you guys selected a brand like that. I mean, do you guys do this in other states? Or is Oregon your guys' first region, or what's that going like for High Revival?
Yeah, Oregon's our first state. We chose Oregon for many, many reasons. And I mean, number one, I've been in the regulated and really the commercial space for the last, literally, I celebrated 15 years 2 weeks ago. But I mean, I've been in the cannabis game since 2002. So, we're talking 23 years. And for me, it's always been about flower. Flower is absolutely king. And when I was looking, I mean, Joey, I looked at it had to be about 70 to 75 different dispensaries across the state of Oregon. I had considered other states as well. Uh, but when I looked at all these different properties and I saw that I could grab both TJs together, and TJ's already exemplified my view of the plant, and that we should focus on flower and the medicinal side first. And yeah, we can have the rec side too, but like it's a medical first plant.
They were
And
like the first medical brand, like a brand name that was winning awards and in high
hell yeah.
times, but they had the word organics in the name. And
Yep, TJ's Organics Precisions,
that was a
baby.
differentiator, Brian. That was a major differentiator back then. We're talking 2016, 9 years ago for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean their initial brand goes all the way back to 2008 is when they first started on the medical market. I mean,
Wow.
we're talking 17 years in this industry.
Wow.
That's one of the longest going.
That's actually that they're like the grandparents of the industry right there. They've seen it all. They've been through the decades, the generations. They're like dinosaurs. Shit's crazy.
Yeah, I mean
TJ's, man, Brian, how cool is that, man? You're reviving a legacy brand, medical to rec. You know they were doing stuff they weren't supposed to be doing way back in the day. That's how they got that experience. That's how that works in Oregon.
dude, weren't we all? I mean, come
Come
on
on,
now.
man.
I mean,
That's
I did
dope.
it on depending on when you ask me, it could be, it's anywhere between 5 and 13 years I was on that side of the game.
So 23 years, Brian. What was years 1 through 5 like for you? What was years 6 through 10? What, like, classically? What is those 2 decades? Break it into 5 year chunks, because every couple years the earth, the world, America, economies, it's all different all the damn time.
Hell yeah.
When you put yourself back into that 2005, it's like music. We're talking T-Pain and Lil Jon and yeah, you know what I mean, Usher. What was weed like back for you back in those 2003, 2002s through 2010s, bro? What was that like?
I mean, the from
I'm in high
the
school at that time. I graduated 2009.
oh shit, okay, yeah. I mean, I got some years on you then. I So it was a challenge, man. It was like, you call the guy, you hope he shows up, and eventually, once you start pushing some weight, you're that guy, but you still got to meet somebody else because it's got to come from somewhere. And really, that's when you start looking at national distribution chains, and when you start to look at 5, 10, 20 pounds at a time. And now I'm talking hundreds of pounds, but I don't have any of that risk. I don't expect to get held up when I go pick something up. And
Yeah.
so there was always that risk of not only the police, but because, like, I grew up on the East Coast. I did all this in New Jersey. That was my home base. And so the New Jersey police are not very fond of cannabis still to this day. And so you had to deal with the police, but also you had to deal with all of the other, you
New
know,
Jersey's got its own set of issues from what I hear about right now. They got the airports. Then now they got legal weed there all over the place, which is a great thing.
it's a great
Atlantic
thing. Yeah. But I
Atlantic
mean,
City's decaying. Um, it's a
Jersey's an
tough.
interesting place.
It's just a tough place to be. And a lot of places in America are tough, but that's what makes these places unique and special and helps build this character, this experience that that you're talking about and alluding to right now.
Yeah,
Um,
man. I mean, those first years were mostly just retail side, but then it was 2010 is when I actually started realizing I realized it a while prior to that, but I finally had the opportunity. Like, you know what? I'm going to control the supply chain. I'm actually going to start growing it, producing it, extracting with it. I was one of the very first ones to travel to and did a lot of work in Colorado and specifically Denver, and saw the very first vape carts hit the market.
yep.
I reverse engineered those and made my own back in my market, and then continued to push with my own recipe chocolate chip cookies, the whole nine. I was the whole supply chain, and really that started on the medical side. The way that I had the opportunity to start growing was a family friend asked me. She knew what I was doing, and was like, "Hey, would you be willing to grow this for me? I got MS. It's legal in Jersey medically, but like even though I can't have my own grow, fuck that. The dispensaries are going to take forever. They actually took 3 years to get open. And in that time, I had built her a small grow. We had, I want to say 10, 12 harvests by then, by the time the first dispensary was open. And so, she told a friend, they told a friend, and believe it or not, quick succession. And it took about a year and a half. I had 7 micro operations that I designed and built, more like automated commercial facilities,
Yeah.
but just in a tiny little 15 by 15 or a 20 by 20
Yeah.
room.
Those are those small craft rooms that people wish like that people wish they either still had in the commercial space, or those are like their R&D stuff now?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the game has changed considerably, and I mean, to kind of go to that next 5 years, after it was December of 14, I had the opportunity to, I'll keep it quick, but called around to all of the legal dispensaries and operations in Jersey. Finally, had a guy pick up and was like, "Hey, man, yeah, come on in." Long story short, I ended up volunteering with him for 7 months,
Wow.
and that company at the time was called Paliatech. It ultimately became what we all know and love of as Curaleaf now. I was
Wow.
officially number 4 employee at Curaleaf, and had really gotten my hands deep onto the regulated side. And while I was volunteering, I wound down all of my legacy operations so that I was like, hey, I got this opportunity. I'm going to make the jump. At the time, the whole criminal justice reform and expungement and basically having special carve outs for those that have been affected by the drug war, that shit didn't exist.
No.
So I had to make sure that I was as clean as a whistle. And so I wound down all of my legacy side at that time. And eventually, just really got my feet wet at Curaleaf, was there for just under 2 years, started consulting, built a consulting firm, sold that to a public company called Maramed, earned out with them for a year. And it was really at that point that I started really turning around operations, taking what was built quickly, black market style, and turning it into actually standardized commercial operations. And
Yes.
that's been like the last 5 years of my career has been, taking let's call it what it is, taking a pile of shit and actually transforming it to make it be a profitable engine to make us all money and to produce absolute fire.
There is a lot of great weed in the traditional market. There's a lot of good weed. There's a lot of great growers, good growers. It's a whole it it's the amateurs compared to commercial businesses. It is. It
you
is
know,
because running the business and taxes and labor and people getting sick and car accidents and weather and real situations, break-ins with police and the cameras. Don't forget how many cameras you need, Brian. Don't forget how many cameras you
you can
need.
probably see them. Oh, yeah, it's right there. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, we can't forget some of those things that we can't overlook. That costs about $60,000 to $180,000, depending on how big the facility is.
and
To get
depending on what
everybody
state you're in.
right, and what
Joey,
state all. And so it's I have all the respect for the legacy operators still doing it, the traditional, but it is a whole different ball game. It is the NFL to college, the NFL to the UFL in terms of the big leagues versus this. Because when you're running these massive facilities and you got so much leaning on you, and you got regulations and testing, and then there's already a market that dictates the standards of product, right? So we already have 30% tracers. We already have the strains that everybody should have. We already have the brands that took to take up space with the organics or the green this or the craft that. Like there's a lot out there
Yeah.
in terms
Oh
of
yeah.
variety. Brian, with these retail licenses, did you also pick up the gardens element of it too, the cultivation? Or you guys have that Durban poison still, or where'd that go?
So I mean, that's hanging out with our friend Kerry over at Hometown. So he actually is
Oh
what
wow.
what took over TJ's Gardens. So that wasn't even available to us. We were able to snag a processing license that we'll probably bring on later this year. Probably by the end of the year, we'll turn processing on. And what's really cool is we moved the processor into the back of our Eugene dispensary. So the Eugene will be retail in the front, processing in the back. And what's really cool is that even though we didn't get the opportunity to snag TJ's Gardens, we have since in the last 2 months, we've been able to add a cultivation and another retail that are actually paired. You can see our new cultivation you can hear it being built out literally right now.
Yeah.
Where you'll be able to see our cultivation from our store floor. You'll be able to see our clone room from the store floor and be able to buy clones from the clone room. So we're really, really excited to be now fully vertically integrated.
Brian, I gotta mute myself for 1 second and close this window. These guys are gonna go crazy for a sec. Sorry about that little unexpected visit from the people doing the yard work and the maintenance in the back. So that kind of leads me to my next. So if Carrie took over some of that stuff, that explains how the weed's so good over there to some extent, along with his magical his teams and what they're doing and his processes. That weed was damn good.
He's got
Um,
a great team over there, man.
yeah,
Sam and
they're
Rach and everybody else. I mean, they fucking crush it over there.
Yes, I was very impressed with their flower when I linked up with them this past fall, and it did. It took me back, living soil, organic style. The terpenes were absolutely insane and busting on that. The nugs looked great and chunky and healthy and vibrant. It was just a great representation of Oregon cannabis, and now to seeing him grow more of cipher genetics items and some of those things. It's going to be an exciting time for Oregon smokers to get stuff from hometown cultivation. Now, circling back there, you said you guys have how many locations are currently open, and run me back through the cities again. I
Yeah,
remember
sure. So
Eugene and Portland have two in Eugene. What is it?
it's just one in Eugene. It's one retail and processing in Eugene. They're in the same building, right? And it's right downtown Eugene, really beautiful area. Then we have the one in Portland that is active right now, and then the new one is also in Portland, about 4 miles down the road from the other location, and that'll be a store and a grow. I am busting my ass, and our team is here every day trying to get us open by June 16th. I am hoping to have a soft opening by then, and maybe July 1st at the latest.
That's gonna be dope, man. When it comes to the brands in Oregon that people should carry, I'm not up on anybody except for Wild at this point. And then I know there's that. I always think about there's that soda company you guys have. I think Magic.
Yeah, magic number.
Yeah, those guys. I'm a big fan of the beverages because if I'm smoking, I'm gonna drink something too. I buy both of those guys. So it's like I don't drink alcohol that much except for IPAs, but that's where I like a good craft soda, and I feel like Oregon and Magic they've been doing it for a long, long time. Um, what are some of your favorite brands that you're excited to work with and carry there in your locations? What can the local people expect you to be carrying?
Hell yeah, great question. I mean, I'll kind of start at the top from our what we call our premium shelf, and then kind of work our way down there. And the top of the top right now is generally Evans Creek or Braveheart. Uh, and they're super small batch. I mean, tiny batch. They're typically only in 1,000 to 1,200 square feet of canopy, and so when it hits, it's
Wow.
incredibly limited. It's fire, and I mean, we've had strains sell out where we'll get a half a pound or a pound, and it's gone in an afternoon. From there, I mean, definitely shout out to Kerry at Hometown, Focus North, U Green, Dow Gardens. Those are the ones that really stick out to me on the top shelf. Orion's in there, probably some Hazy Valley, but then kind of moving down. Sometimes it's on top, sometimes it's on quality, depending on batch. We got Herbal Dynamics, their ice cream cake. I mean, it's an oldie but a goodie. We've been selling pounds and pounds of ice cream cake now for. I mean, I've took over the operations in October. That's been our number one product that we've sold at both stores. It's amazing. It looks great, smokes great, and then kind of moving into the concentrates. What's great is many of those same flower brands take that fire flower. That again, flower is king. If you got great inputs coming in, your extracts are also going to be great. And both of our shops really focus on rosin. Yes, we carry the BHO and the resins and things, but we've really, our menu is hyper curated. We don't just buy shit to put on the shelf. Both of our managers, Drew in Portland and Brittany in Eugene, they really bust ass and curate every single item that we have in the store. And
Wow.
so with that, the brands know, like if their batch is like, and we've ordered it, they won't even send it to us. And they'll be like, hey, you guys don't want it. You're going to send it back anyway. So we didn't send it because it
Yeah.
wasn't hitting like we know you want it. And that speaks to the volume of how well our managers have curated that menu. But Focus North, U Green on the dab side. Also, you've got Grape God, um, Lofty. Rosin Raiders is actually, one of the, it's a community brand, or Kalia. I'm probably butchering that, but I mean,
Yeah.
one of the things I love about them,
Oh
they're
yeah,
they're
they're from down here in Cali, Calia.
Calia, yeah, like literally it comes in a puck of ice rather than being in a glass jar. It's a fucking puck of ice. So that when you bring it home, I mean, it is still exactly the temp that you want. Nothing's been lost. There are quite a few brands. Hash right now is uber competitive. I mean, absolutely hyper competitive. You can spend as little as $7 for a gram of hash rosin. It's
Mhm.
cured. Live, the cheapest probably 15. But you can spend as much as $140 for a 2 gram bucket. Because in
Wow.
Oregon, we can now sell 2 grams at a time. We can also sell 2 ounces at a time.
Wow.
So it's a little different here. It's a great time.
That's pretty exciting. I haven't heard of people being able to sell multiple ounces. That's for the rec consumers too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Whoa.
The What's crazy is the medical customers. They can buy half a pound a day, no more than 2 pounds a month.
No more than 2 pounds a month. That's a lot for me to smoke through, but challenge accepted, Oregon. Challenge accepted.
Right on.
Brian, high Revival Holdings. Any plans in the next year or 2 years? You're looking at other states. You're looking at other. I mean, you got any other secret projects? Not products. Any other secret projects you're thinking about, or any of these other states catching your attention? The New
I,
York hype, but it's
I
real.
mean,
It's like a real hype, though. It's real.
oh, it's real, and New York is a struggling state. I mean, they're having a lot of problems with inversion right now because they don't have any type of track and trace. So I mean, it's wide open for just product coming from other states, which is really difficult. So it's one reason why I'm not looking at New York. But without giving too much away, part of my job is to keep my eye on the pulse of literally everywhere. And so yes, whether it's next year or early 27. We will be looking to do this same type of thing where we're looking for those struggling companies to revive them. We are looking at other states. I've quite literally, I have, I've been in the industry forever. So like, you create a big network. And now that people understand that I've been doing this a little over a year, I've been getting a lot of phone calls where it's like, hey, so-and-so in Colorado, for example, or Arizona is another one that I've looked at really extensively. They will literally give you the keys if you just take over the lease. It's like that's hard to turn down.
Yeah.
I can make hay while the sun is shining over there, but there's certain market conditions that I'm looking for that I want to make sure are aligned before I really enter into another market. And both Colorado and Arizona aren't quite there yet, and a lot of other states I don't want to touch quite yet.
What are your thoughts um, on the Oregon hemp industry and their ability to do things at a national level compared to TJ's Oregon and your THC products, your cannabis THC products,
Yeah.
being limited to one state? A lot of chatter on LinkedIn, a lot of chatter online is always centered around California because hemp just got reversed here in the last 2 years. I want to say probably a year or so or less. Um, Across the country, there's a lot of places you can get it. A lot of places. There's also some places you can't. Um, so, what are your thoughts running retail? Even in the retail space, you have CBD stores and smoke shops that you have to deal with by the thousands, even though there are 1,000 dispensaries there in Oregon, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, the last count, there were 795 as of last month.
Wow.
And what's challenging
There
is
used to
we've
be
got,
like 1,300 or 1,500 or something. No.
yeah, the in 9 months we lost 67 dispensaries.
Wow.
We lost 134 grows, and I think it was like 89 processors.
Just
And it's
just stuff that's no longer licensed anymore.
Yeah, yeah, totally. The licenses are gone and they're not coming back because of the way that Oregon has shifted their regulations. They're really trying to help the industry in at least in certain ways. They're trying to help. I could talk about security and what Portland is not doing it's not helping us. But the way I look at it is, hey, I play the game as it is. So I understand what the rules are. I do my best to operate a business and be as profitable as I possibly can. If I had my way, yeah, I would probably regulate the hemp side so that it was a little bit more in line with what we're doing, or open the doors for us. Oregon's ready to ship nationwide, and I mean the flower and the product that we have here is exponentially better. I mean, I would argue it's the best flower in the world Did you know that we were the first state, we were the first geographic region to decriminalize cannabis in 1973? January 26, 1973, we were before Amsterdam. And while Amsterdam may have created an actual retail market with the coffee shop model, we were first. And because of that, we have a culture here that is older than even Cali. I know you guys got some great flower there, but we've got people that have grown up with their fathers and their grandparents
Yeah.
growing cannabis at home. So, I mean, we're ready to ship nationwide, and I wish we could, but until we can, we will do our best to really focus on this market and just keep on crushing it.
I'm excited to see Oregon, excuse me, Oregon cannabis go worldwide even more because I was in Costa Rica recently and I bought some hemp product that came from Oregon, and it had been imported, exported from there, imported down there, um, and made its way to a smoke shop in Tamarindo of all places. So it was cool to get some really boofy Oregon weed or Oregon flower for $60.
Whew.
Um, but when you need it, you need it. I didn't end up smoking it, which was funny. But I bought it to experiment and do my research, and discovered that yeah, it had come from Oregon, and so I thought that was pretty interesting. Um,
I will say, like, hats off to the hemp market here is incredibly well regulated, organized, and it's a legit business here. Whereas a lot of other states, you just fill out a paper, you get a license. Like, there are actually inspections here, and they do a good job of trying to take care of the whole hot hemp issue.
yeah,
Whether they can enforce it completely, we all know that is not the case, but
it's tough.
they're trying, and it's a. I would also say, one of the questions that I've often gotten is like, I mean, isn't the black market rampant in Oregon? Like, yes and no. There's always those home growers that'll always be there, and it's legal here for us to home grow. So, like, shout out to everybody trying to do
Yeah,
it.
I mean, by definition, just having a bunch of weed at your house is not illegal.
It's not. And like, what I like to emphasize is there are, black market operators that are trying to operate under the veil of, oh, it's hemp. It's not fucking hemp. But what's great is the DEA, the OSP, which is the Oregon State Police, and the OLCC, they've all partnered up and created a task force for the last 3.5 going on 4 years that they funded with actual legal cannabis taxes to the tune of $41 million. And the whole point there is for them to go and stamp out the huge black market operations that they've been really successful. And Oregon, the state of, is learning, because back in the day, go 4 or 5 years ago, if you got busted because you were sending shit to the black market, I could sell my license to you, and then you can go and do it. Now obviously you and I would be buds, and we would have a backdoor agreement, and you'd just keep running, and I'd probably still be running it with you. But the way that they've changed regulations is when you have a certain level of violation or a certain number of them, which something like this would be, they actually force you to surrender your license, and that license is gone. And so it is really, they are putting a lot of pressure on, especially the big black market grows. I heard of one that was 1,600 acres, which is insane. Oh, I lost your sound, bud.
That's like a forest. That's like a
Yeah,
park.
hell yeah! I'd imagine that there are some wheat fields in Iowa that are that big. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's insane. Like to think about the size and scale of how much cannabis Oregon is growing. You gave us some details there on the history of Oregon with when it was first able like legalized back then, and it just starts to really put things in perspective about how much cannabis culture and history Oregon has contributed. At the end of the day, there's a lot of great breeders. Breeders create the genetics that we know. There's a lot of growers out there because you had home grow for a long time, and so you've got people buying seeds and playing and experimenting and just you know doing whatever they want to do with the plant because they could and had the freedom to do that. I think that's a unique situation compared to pretty much every other state in the country and across the world. The ability to do that while also too being so progressive with cannabis that you guys already pre-voted and pre-approved importation, exportation to cannabis across the world when it's ready, and across state lines when it's ready. I think that is phenomenal to see where Oregon is as a leader in the space, and it's often slept on. Before we go any further, though, Brian, I want to take a moment. I realized that I had the wrong template on, the wrong layover, the wrong overlay. So we want to shout out our sponsor, sparkscan.com. Make sure you guys tap in. They're the ones powering the episodes for or the Oregon Cannabis Podcast. This show is all dedicated exclusively to Oregon. We do these shows as consistently as we can, or whenever we can find Oregon guests, we try to bring them on this show and talk all about the culture, the history. We try to talk about some of the strange and genetics. We try to talk about what they're currently doing with their stores, where they're at, what's it like there. All these different things that help us get a better picture, a better view, better understanding of what it's like and what's weed like where they're at, man. And so it's exciting. Brian, I appreciate you for joining us today. I got some more questions for you, though. So we're not quite done and getting you out of here yet. Um, you mentioned you've got you're in the 45-day or so countdown for launching this store, right? We're that's the goal. um we talked a little bit about some of the brands. What's it been like kind of reviving the stores? Did you come in and have to replace a bunch of staff? Did you keep a bunch of the current people? What was that process like? How was that integration? And then also to uh, the information that I got says that you guys have got it back to profitability. So
We
what
have, yeah.
what is you have to share the playbook, but run us through the highlights, brother.
Sure, sure. I mean, number one thing, I'll shout out to each and every one of my employees. We've kept as many as we possibly could. Like we didn't come in and clean house. We didn't fire anyone at all. As just general course of business, people come and go. But we've kept our core crew in both stores.
Nice.
And for me, it all starts with people and product. And I mean, our product kind of speaks for itself. And yes, we've added to the menu, we've shifted the menu to try to make it a little bit easier for the customer to understand. Because just like wine, cannabis can be a little overwhelming if you're not you and I and really fucking into it. It might be a little overwhelming. So we've tried to
Yeah.
make it a little bit more palatable and easier to understand. But the biggest thing for me is take care of the people will take care of you. I realize that I am a really demanding operator because I have an idea. I've operated 31 states, Joey. Like I've seen everything there is to see, and I'm learning every day, and I'm trying to ask a lot of my team.
Yeah.
So I think it took me 6 weeks, but everybody across the board got a raise. And what we also did was we implemented an employee profit share program so that we would additionally incentivize all of our employees to jump on the train here. Like I played team sports my whole life, and so I try to treat this like a team. And if we're all working together, we should all be winning together. We should all be, making some bread together.
Yeah. If we hit some goals, we should be getting a little bread.
That's it. And the team really appreciated that and respected that. I see that as a huge differentiator for us nationwide. There are a few. I got a few friends that are actually doing it too, but it's very rare in this industry. A lot of people complain that we chew employees up and spit them out, and it's like a meat grinder. And I'm trying to reverse that a little bit. So I focused a lot of time and attention on the teams, and also I spent a lot of time in store. Our chief revenue officer Jesse has spent quite a couple of weeks in the store. And what I'm trying to do is sit there and listen, understand what the customer is asking for. I talk to my managers literally every single day to the point that I went like 110 days in a row. It was from like Christmas to basically Easter. I talk to my one manager every single day because we've got a lot to communicate about. But really having my managers also on the floor listening to the customers. And I mean, we actually go out to the farms to actually source the material ourselves to see what's going on, actually connect with the culture, connect with the growers.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're just catching it in the bags and the packs when they try to come show it to you.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. And I mean, for
That's helpful
me,
for some products, but with flour, that's tough.
from somebody that's run many grows in many states, small, super huge, I know what goes on at some of the grows, and I don't want to stock product from those grows. And so we go and call it what it is. We kind of investigate and sniff around. But from a business perspective, coming from taking things over from a publicly traded company, as you can imagine, there was just a tremendous amount of waste. One of my main core beliefs is in lean manufacturing, and with that is get rid of all waste. If it doesn't provide direct value to the customer or we have to do it because it's legal. Like, okay, there's that. If it doesn't factor into one of those two things, it is waste. Get rid of it. And so, I mean, I was able to come in and reduce costs significantly just because of the way that things were operating prior to that. And, I don't want to throw shade on them, but like, call it what it is. Public companies operate differently than small, nimble private companies. And so we tried to just get rid of the shit that we didn't need to have.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Running that lean operation, especially considering how volatile and roller coaster-ish, if that's a new word, this industry has proven to be year in and year out. Um,
There's a reason I've got no hair left, bud.
right, and I'm getting right there with you. We're in Q2, 2025. What do you got going on the rest of this month? What do you guys get coming up the rest of as we get into the summer?
Yeah, great. I mean, enjoying the absolute dream that the Oregon summer is. People give us a lot of shit because it rains here a lot. Yeah, it might rain here between October and May, but it doesn't rain here at all from May to October, and it's just sunny and gorgeous. So I mean, I'll actually be out enjoying some of the sunshine. Going to go camping with my wife this weekend. But from a business side, we're going to open this store. I've got plants in the ground in this building right now that are going to be, hopefully have our first harvest by September. And really just trying to get everything open here and really doing some summer programming for each of our other stores. We're looking at doing some special events, trying to create some more culture and community around each of our stores, so that it's not just a transaction to come buy weed. Like, people come in to buy weed, but also when they leave, they know their at-home experience is going to, they know what to expect. And that's really what we're trying to hit, that in-store experience, create some community and culture there, and maybe a little bit of education, and also giving them confidence that when they get home to experience their product, they know exactly what they're getting, and it keeps them coming back because our recommendations are worthwhile. And it's, that focus. We're going to be doing some special things this summer that I can't really quite say this yet, but I hope that we get to have another conversation like this as time goes on, because summer's going to be killer. And then with the fall, I mean, I'd love to have you come and see what the plants are looking like, later this year, maybe closer to Christmas time, and get to actually walk through the grow with me.
Absolutely, man. It would be an honor to go through TJ's Oregon, baby. Come on. Now, the question I have, though, immediately is, what's the flavor lineup for that September drop? What are some of these genetics? What's in the ground? Can you share three of them?
Three, man. You're going to make me pick three? So first and foremost, I'm a gas guy, and I want to grow weed that I want to smoke, and it's got to be to the level that I want it to be in order for us to be able to sell it. So I started with a couple of really basics, the original Gorilla Glue, the original Girl Scout cookie, the original ice cream cake, and we've actually kind of added them, mixed them around so that we've got the originals, but then we've got like Gorilla Skittles. We've got White Runts. We've got Do-Si-Do Girl Scout cookie. We've got a lot of
gases right there. I like that. A little bit of flavor.
We're trying to mix things and just kind of make it so that if you liked Gorilla Glue or if you like Skittles, well, try them together. I mean, that's going to be amazing. We got a couple of different GMOs and GMO crosses. I really looked at what are our customers demanding, and that's really I added that to what I want to smoke, and that's really what you're going to see. A lot of gas. There will be some fruit. There will be some terpenoline in there. We absolutely category cover all the terp profiles because not everybody wants gas, and so great. Let's go with some of the candy strains. And I mean, I don't know. It's I'll shout out Kerry's Creme de Uva. I would love to have something that has a similar profile to that, but we'll see. I mean, we've got several hundred. I have lost count, but I could go into the spreadsheet. We got several hundred seeds that are popping right now, and we're really excited to do a full-blown pheno hunt to see what we got. And something else that I'm so excited about is TJ's hasn't sold clones in years and years and years. We're going to be selling clones in TJ's. It'll probably be July 4th-ish, and we'll be selling clones at this shop too. And again, like I think I mentioned at the top, you'll be able to see the clones and the mothers and everything as soon as you walk into the shop, which is really cool.
That's dope, man. It's such a cool experience when you get to see the plants growing. You then get to see what it ends up with, whether it's the edibles, the vapes, or even the beautiful flower form and the bigger nugs, or the ounces with the big nugs in those ones. Always love seeing that. And
Hell
Oregon,
yeah.
always known for great prices, great flour, affordable flour. If you want the cheap, they got that too. I remember, them $30 ounce signs are real. I've seen those before.
Oh yeah.
And they're definitely real. That weed's there. Um,
There's
I
something
find
for everybody here. You got
absolutely.
$30 and you need an ounce. Joey, we got at TJ's. We don't have the $30 ounces. A couple of the other stores do, but like we have everything from a $60 ounce to a $400 ounce, and
Do you
everything in
do you
between.
guys list, and this question brought to you guys by sparkscan.com, that your guys' go-to people for cannabis marketplace management. Do you guys list yourself on Weed Maps or Leafly, to the two main cannabis marketplaces?
Not at the current time. No, we're on. We've got an online menu so you can buy online.
Online
And
at the
then
website?
yeah,
Nice.
tjsoregon.com.
Easy.
And it's a beautifully created website that changes constantly because we're just trying to keep it relevant. And there's you can see what all of our deals are. You can buy online and pick up in store. We got the whole nine.
I love that. I love that. Brian, I appreciate you for joining us here today. It's been a great conversation. It's been good to catch up with you guys. We talked about it a few weeks back, or even last month, about just how big of a fan I was, and how much of of a fan I am. TJ's Organics back in the day, that Durban Poison was 2016, one of High Time strains of the years, and that one really put me on into helping understand and appreciate that quality cannabis comes from these different regions and areas. These different breeders, there's these different flavors and palettes, and supply and demand plays a role into it, and people from different places like different things. Oregon has its own culture, excuse me, of genetics. It has its own culture of popular strains. The dog walker,
Ah,
popular one out there in Portland. There's the Oregon Silver Tip, another great one. Oregon Silver Haze, another popular one. I've had those are the three that I can think of that when I was in Seattle made their way up there, that we ended up selling, and everybody from Oregon would always buy anything from Oregon. And you'll find that holds true in the Pacific Northwest. And so it'll be interesting when TJ's Oregon is available worldwide in these dispensaries, in these clubs and lounges, and there's always going to be a place for Oregon in my heart. And I appreciate you, Brian, for reviving this brand. This is exciting for you guys. Big shout out to you. Big shout out to Jesse, the entire team. I look forward to linking with you guys out there. For those of you guys watching, we appreciate you guys as well. Brian, what do you have for the people? What would you like to leave them with today? You got anything coming up? You already mentioned some of the new strains coming, some of the drops, the stores coming. You got any other exclusive news you can share, or any advice for the people?
yeah. I mean, to the note, that Durban Poison is still going around. It is grown by hometown cultivation now. We always have it in our stores when it's available. It does sell out. But for me, my biggest thing is, hey, we're growing something here. We've got, like I said, we've got 3 stores. I do have my eye on a 4th store that I meant to tease out earlier. I'm probably going to be adding the 4th store to the collection in July. And really, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to find other people that believe in what it is that I'm doing, seeing some of these struggling businesses or struggling operators to come in and help them. So, I mean, anybody that wants to help me and add fuel, add some cash to that pile to really come in and continue to do that, please look me up on highrevivalholdings.com. My cell phone is very easily, readily available now. You should be able to find it. Shoot me a text, give me a call. I would absolutely love to talk to you about the project, to be able to see how we might be able to pair up, because we'll have call it 4 stores by the end of the summer, a grow, a processor. I'd like to have 10. Right now the goal is 10 stores. I'll reevaluate at that point to see should we still continue to add more. And I'm really, really excited to just watch this grow and would love to continue to share the story with you.
TJ's Oregon, TJ's Missouri, Massachusetts.
I would say probably TJ's Arizona might be next, but we'll see.
Oh, I like that. Like
We'll
that.
see.
Make there. It's some states need better weed, guys. That's what the reality is. So if you can go out there and bring really quality genetics and consistent processes out there, and you can kick their ass at curing and drying the weed, because that's where people suck at. They grow decent weed all over the place, but they suck at that part. And
I mean, that's
so,
where everything is made or lost right there. And
yeah.
so few people really put the time into the dry room is often so overlooked. The cure room, there might not even be one. And that's where a lot of that product is lost, unfortunately.
Yeah. Man, it's been great to chat with you, Brian. Thank you for sharing the game with me today and with our viewers. For those of you guys watching, be sure to like, follow, subscribe, tap in. Make sure you guys visit sparkscan.com for any of you guys brands, your retailers out there that need help making money on Weed Maps, Leafly, or Yelp. My partner Kevin over there, he's got your guys' back. He's even got a 30-day deal, net terms, money back. That's a pretty sweet deal for brands looking to make more money with their retail partners that are pretty much all listing themselves on there. If you guys happen to be in Portland, if you happen to be in Eugene, you can go to tjsorgan.com.
You got it.
tjsorgan.com. Folks, be sure to place your orders. Make sure you guys leave a review on Google and follow them on social media if you can. Be sure to tap in, stay involved, get involved, support their events. Make sure you tip your bud tenders. And don't buy weed based on high THC. Go in and ask them what's the latest, what's the freshest, what's something new, what's something crazy. I want to feel like this. Challenge these bud tenders to provide a strain based on how you want to feel. And they'll appreciate you for that too, because that way they're not just repeating the same thing all the time to people.
Hell yeah. Tell them what you're going to do. Tell them a little bit about what you like, what the taste is you're looking for. I mean, I'm of the opinion that we shouldn't even be testing for THC anymore because it's such a clusterfuck. We don't, everybody focuses on that. And there is so much amazing flower that tests at 17%. And if you didn't know that it tested at 17%, you wouldn't know the difference.
Bro, there's amazing flower that's at 12, 14, 11. It just depends on the ratio of CBD and these other cannabinoids. I mean, all these, even like I've had the super high sour tsunami and Pennywise and some ACDC and those things, and they just taste sweet and piney and a little cat pissy. And that's great weed for people that like that flavor. I liked it because it was berry. You know what I mean? And so there's great weed for everybody, man. Whatever THC you want it at, you should be able to get it at. That's my thoughts on it.
Hell yeah. And one of the things that I love is, our bud tenders really like the reason that they're bud tending is because they also love weed as much as I do. And if you go in there and be like, hey, what's hot? What kind of strains or what kind of stories we got here? Like, what's the new cross? I mean, they're gonna know, and you're gonna be able to get a full cultural story of like who bred this, how did the cut get to that person, and why should you care about this genetic? There's all real story behind that, and just coming in. I mean, yeah, you can spend 5 minutes in the dispo and get in and out. I have some customers that spend an hour and a half a week. And they're in there really trying to curate and select, and they might come out with 9 or 10 different eighths that they're going to all go home and have a legit sampling of. And
that's what I liked about Oregon was the ability to buy grams out the deli style, to be able to try a bunch of stuff and then double or triple or get an eighth or a half ounce based on my favorite stuff, my go-to. Always the dog walker for me.
Most states you are regulated to have everything pre-packed. Thankfully here, we have some dispensaries that do that, but most of us are deli style. So like you can go in and see what is your body saying? What do you need today, not tomorrow? And your nose is going to know. It always does.
Man, we're going to have you back on again soon, Brian. We got to make sure we keep people of Oregon informed. I appreciate you for hanging out. Thank you again. Everybody be sure to check out tjsorgan.com for more information. Be sure to visit sparkscan.com if you need help making more money on Weed Maps, Leafly, and Yelp. I'm Joey J. Ping. This is Brian Staffa. We will catch you guys next